All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this awesome painting video. Now, this is going to be a real-time video for my members here on YouTube. Now, if you're watching this and you're not a member, then it is just a release for a limited time here on my YouTube channel. And of course, I recommend you become a member on my channel because I plan to make a lot more member-focused content in the near future. So if you want to see a lot more real-time videos and content, then that's where you need to be. So as you can see here, we are working with actually a dino egg. Now, not too long ago, I actually painted this in a green dinosaur egg kind of theme. And we're going to be reusing the same overall casted item here. And now this is a cast out of Smooth Cast 300. That is a original sculpted design that I had created. And this is a magnet. So it has 5 magnets in the back of this. And we're going to go ahead and paint this out to perfection. Now this is actually a kind of like a surprise that I'm adding to an order for an awesome customer. Now I did make a full-length YouTube video on the creation of that order, and that being a ice and snow full arc rune set that I had created for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So as I'm getting some stuff out and getting it ready here, just be aware that that video is out there and it does include some surprises in that content. Now, although that is a 12 times speed creation of this item here, I just think that it's sometimes just fun and relaxing to slow down a little bit and just enjoy the process here. Now, coming back to this video here, now again, this is a real-time painting. Nothing is sped up here. This is all real-time, but I do use the heat gun every so often, just kind of expedite the dry time a little bit. And I think I did this overall over like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 sessions in total. So it really didn't take that very long at all, and I only worked on it for maybe like 20-30 minutes at a time. And the only reason I had to split it up a little bit is because of dry time for particular coats of paint here. Now we're going to start off with a pearl. Now this is a white pearl from folk art. You can see it already transformed the way that kind of very flat white look. Nothing wrong with that flat white look, but this is going to add a lot of shimmer to it, because we are turning this dinosaur egg that obviously it's a dinosaur. It was always meant to be a dinosaur. It was sculpted with the dinosaur theme in mind, but we're going to repurpose it to look like a frost dragon. Because it is a reptilian shape, it's encapsulated in portions of the egg here. We're able to kind of depict it as the frost dragon, which we're going to include in that order for the customer as a surprise. So the D&D campaign is an ancient frost dragon that they're coming across, and that's what we're going to kind of color code this for. So that pearl white is absolutely incredible, and it really does give us a great color there. Very nice shimmer to that item. So as we pull out new colors, I'll come in and I'll kind of introduce them and just kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking at particular times during this project. This is just a very laid back portion of the creation of this order here. And I really do enjoy making these real-time videos for you. Maybe in the near future, as I sell some of these and I've already recorded them and put them out there already, maybe I'll do some YouTube lives where I'm just kind of like painting in real time with you guys on the YouTube platform. So stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll do that, try to do that more often as I sell more versions of these. And I've already made the long form content of those items. So stay tuned for all that. It's going to be fun stuff, right? Always introducing new things and new techniques and new painted items here. Now, as you can see here, we are going to be working with a little bit of a navy blue here. This is a metallic from folk art. We're going to be using a lot of metallics in the creation of this project here. So we're going to go ahead and kind of use the side of the brush here, and we're going to go ahead and let that cascade over the side edges, not all of the edges, but just the side edges of the egg itself. And it's going to give that exterior jacket of the egg texture a really cool effect. And then we'll do something different for the interior portions of the egg. So sit back and enjoy, guys, as we go ahead and apply this really nice deep blue metallic to the exterior of the egg. Now we're going to go ahead and take that nice rich blue there, that metallic, and we're going to go ahead and bring that into the inside edge of the outer shell there. It's just going to go ahead and continue that colors down and around the interior edge, and it also think it's going to frame it in quite nicely, as opposed to say leaving it the same color as the interior or something like that and it being super bright. We're going to go ahead and darken it out slightly. All right, so we're going to introduce a different color here. Now we're going to go down in color brightness here. We're going to go down to a light blue. Now this light blue is going to be used throughout the entire project here, and I really like it just because it gives that frost vibe, frost dragon vibe, maybe like a blue eyes white dragon. Any Yu-Gi-Oh nerds out there? But it does give that like that frost dragon look to it, and we're gonna stain it later with some washes. But for now, it's just a really good base for us to work up with on the actual dragon itself. So we'll go ahead and paint out the interior portion of the dragon around the eye, as well as the fingers themselves, because of course he wouldn't have different finger colors than he actually has the main body itself, especially if he's just being born. So we're going to go ahead and paint this out here methodically, just making sure to get just the inside edges of the body. And then we'll work our way down into the hand here in just a few moments there. All right, so now that we got the kind of base coat of the light blue metallic on there, once we get a nice good layer on, we can start moving on to some of the higher colors. So, for instance, we're going to go over the eye with a little bit of a darker blue, kind of like a turquoise a little bit, and of course we'll shade it a little bit. We just want to make sure we get a good base coat on the actual dragon itself, really before we start to shift into those other colors. We know that we want to keep the overall same blue theme, right? So I thought like a nice turquoise over the eye would look pretty good. The outside of the shell, the outer shell, is going to be mainly this color. We're not going to shift that around a whole lot. So this nice kind of like navy metallic blue that we have from folk art is really what we're going to rely on for the exterior portions of the egg. And then, of course, we're really going to focus on the actual dragon itself coming out of the egg, as well as the inner shell. So here I am getting a little bit of this light colored turquoise out here. It is going to be a completely different shade compared to this metallic light blue. It's really going to pop. You see how bright that is, and it looks really good. Of course, this is not a metallic, right? This is just a standard opaque paint. I don't remember the technical name for it, but it is just a generic color. So it's just a pure color straight out of the tube. Nothing to overcomplicate it. It's just very simplistic here. Getting a nice even coat there across the lens of the eye, and then we can continue working on some of the details here. Alright, so next with that drying, we're going to go ahead and give the claws a little bit of a dark tinge here. Now we're going to keep it pretty simplistic overall. We're actually going to paint these in a little bit of a light gunmetal gray. So we'll have a little bit of shine to them, but not too much. It's just very easy. So we're just going to paint these in solid colors here. Keep the claws or fingernails or talons, as it were, very easy and light and simplistic. Do a little bit of detail work there with just a small brush, making sure to get good coverage over the entire sculpted section there, and then make sure we don't get too much over paint just because it's such a dark color. Looking pretty good there. A little bit more on there, make sure it kind of gets good coverage there. Make sure none of that white is showing through. Looking pretty good. We're also going around the interior recess portions of the eggshell. Remember, the inner eggshell is supposed to be kind of like just surrounding the inner portion of the membrane of the egg, and of course it has that hard exterior jacket, which is the kind of navy blue metallics. So we're just going to use some of that existing color there, and we're just going to kind of darken some of the recesses around the inner, the dividing line between the inner and outer shell. It's really not necessary, but it does add a little bit of depth to the overall painted item here. Make sure not to get any kind of over paint there. Coming back in with that pearl white. Preparing any kind of over painted sections there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move on to a little bit dingy color here. We're going to give it a little bit of a wash. Now, instead of using like an ink wash, I'm actually just going to create some just out of some water and some burnt umber here. Just pure Winsor & Newton burnt umber straight from the tube. Just kind of diluting that a little bit with water so we can get some natural flow to it. And we're going to go ahead and go over the interior pearl eggshell with this nice wash here. Now, we're also going to go over the actual dragon itself just to let this kind of settle into all of the nooks and crannies. Again, that's what a wash is supposed to do, right? It's adding a lot of depth to those base coat layers before you go into any highlights. So the best way I can recommend anybody paint like small items like this is think about your base coats first, then go into some washes, then go into some like different colors of highlights and kind of shadows that from there. And then if you want to do another wash later selectively in particular areas, you can always do that later. That way you get a really good build up over the base coats that you start with. You can always change some color variations along the way to get different results. So again, I don't have a whole lot of water in that mixture right there, so it's actually leaving quite a bit behind, and it's not leaving much water there. That's okay, that's all right. I'll start to introduce a little bit more water as we go through this process. You really don't have to rush during this, just take your time and just have fun. Now when we come in with the UV resin layers here in a moment and we get some nice like ectoplasmic like drip coming out of it, then all these layers will just be underneath that cool liquidy look, and it'll look really cool. As you can see, that came out quite a bit there, so I actually put a lot of paint on the brush there. Came with a little bit of water, kind of thin that out a bit. Making sure to push that up onto the outside edges of the exterior eggshell as well. I want to say exterior edge, but yes, edge of the eggshell. Making sure to let that settle into all the nooks and crannies where the dragon is still recessed into the egg. Let that settle down in there and let it dry as it will. Going between the fingernails there. Making sure to be very liberal there. I'm not worried about it really getting in between like all of the finger like wrinkles as it comes down to the claws or the talons, but just enough to where I'm happy with it. Because we're going to roll into some highlights in just a few moments. So next up in the process, we're going to go over it with just a little bit more of that pearl white. I still have some of that pulled out on my little palette area here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of bring some little details and stippling textures to some of the little recessed crevices around the exterior edge of the outer shell there. I'm just kind of using that paint up, just making sure to bring a little bit more white depth to some of those cracks. It gives it just a little bit of variation in overall color of the outside edge portion. Kind of just pushing that into those little nooks and crannies. These little nooks and crannies are just the same as they were before. They're just portions that I didn't dry brush over with the darker blue earlier in the process. So I'll work my way around the entire eggshell here, and then we can work into some other layers. so being happy with that overall layer there, I'm going to start to work into a little bit of a kind of like a dry brush overlay of the interior egg shell portion. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of that pearl white in and just give it a little bit of just kind of like just highlights here and there around the inner shell, and it's just going to break up some of that brown a little bit, add a little bit more shimmer to the interior portion of the egg, and just kind of deepen it a little bit. Alrighty, so with that kind of overlay done there, we're going to go ahead and work in a little bit more of that turquoise there. Again, it's very opaque, very thick paint, and I'm just going to use this to kind of bring some highlights, very high raised highlights to particular portions of the dragon skin there. So around the eyelids, both upper and lower, as well as around the wrinkles around the fingers as they come down to the talons. And it's just going to be just a nice highlight layer around some of those higher portions there. We're not going to wash out all those beautiful light blues and silvers that we have in the project, but we do want to make sure we give it a good, nice layer here. There we go. Now we're getting some layers built up here, and you can really start to see those in the camera view here. And I'll almost apply a little bit too much color there, and it almost settles into all of the little crevices that wash had originally like kind of locked into. And I almost wash all that out. So I got to be very detailed and very careful here what we do with these like kind of higher highlights. I don't want to wash out all of those undercoated layers while we're doing this. So just be very meticulous, be very detailed. Don't overdo it. Just the higher highlights is all we're looking for here, and then we can move on. And at some point, you just have to think to yourself, I'm kind of happy with how it looks right now. I think we can just call it quits and just let the item speak for itself instead of constantly working on it over and over and continuing that process. Sometimes it's just going to go ahead and say, I'm happy with it. Let's go ahead and move into some different colors or some UV resin and just see how we like it. Alrighty, so we're just gonna apply a little bit of just some like higher, like kind of pearl like glares to the talons here, and then we're also gonna apply just kind of some glares to the interior portions of the eye lens as well. You don't really have to do this, but it adds a little bit of depth and glare to what would normally be kind of like a clear or glassy looking eye. So we're just going to apply a little bit of glare there to the top portions of the eyelid lid there, or eye socket there, and then we'll go ahead and finish up with the actual painting process here. Looking pretty good. I'm digging it, you guys. So we're going to move on to the next layer here, and this is just some raw sepia here. We're going to kind of dip this into all of the nooks and crannies around where you'd see like recesses into the item. So around the actual body of the dragon, as well as some a little bit between the inner and outer shell. So same process for when we use the wash layers with water and burnt umber, but this time we're actually using an acrylic wash, an acrylic ink wash. It just does give a little bit better overall colors there and a little bit more depth to those browns that we're using as a wash. So sometimes it's just good to go ahead and apply these and let them do the talking for you. It's pretty cool. As you can see, as we darken out the interior edges of the inner shell, it really pushes the dragon, outside edges back a little bit while pulling the front portion where the claws and the eye are forward towards the viewer. So we're going to use a little bit of UV resin here, and we're going to use 1 drop of Tim Holtz alcohol inks. Don't get hung up on the color. Now we're using Laguna here. Lagoon. That is a nice light blue Tim Holtz alcohol ink. Don't get hung up on the color. We're only using 1 drop with this amount of UV resin. That's all it takes, because we don't want it to cover up all of those cool base color layers, right? So we're going to use 1 drop here. We're going to mix this up, and then we're going to, by popsicle stick, apply it to particular areas on the actual magnet, just to make it look like some of this ectoplasmic blue goo from the egg is kind of spilling over the outside edges. Mixing that up really good there. Now we'll also come in after this and we'll do a nice ultra clear layer, and then we'll let this all cure up. A little bit of debris right there for some reason in the cup. We went ahead and removed that. I don't want that on the item itself, so we get that out of the way. Alright, so now we can bring over our little dragon here. I never did name him. What's a good name for a frost dragon? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, all you awesome members out there. What would you think a great frost dragon Dungeons and Dragon version would be named? So what we're going to do here is we're going to dip this UV resin into place. We're not doing a full coat coverage. We're not doing that. This is just a little bit of color to kind of break up the overall design a little bit. And it makes it a little bit more deep and dimensional. So being very detailed about where I put this, and I'll do a little bit of a rollover on the outside edges in particular areas just to make it look like it had been dripping out of the egg. It is a pretty vibrant blue overall, a lot more vibrant than I originally anticipated, but it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. Alrighty, so with that kind of locked in, I'm kind of liking how it looks. I don't want to overdo it now. we're going to go ahead and hit this with a UV light here. Now, I have it on my turntable here. This is actually like a 3D printing Igloo, is the brand name. It's like a 3D resin printer cure station, and I've really fell in love with it. It's absolutely powerful, and it works really well. I like that it rotates too. Isn't that always a cool thing for videography and editing? So I'm also going to apply a little bit to the fingers there, or the talons, just a little bit, not very much. And we're also going to bring that down over the bottom as well. So after all, it is a magnet, and they'll probably have it on the refrigerator or like somewhere in their house. So we're going to bring down just a few drips and kind of let it cascade or run down where it would be like hanging flush up against the refrigerator. So this would be running down the refrigerator, as it were, away from the egg, and the egg would be like dripping down, which is pretty cool. So very easy, very laid back here, and then we'll go ahead and get this how we like it, and then we'll hit it with a cure light one more time to kind of lock in these drips down to the paper. Just letting that flow a little bit naturally there. We got a little bit of drip on the end of the popsicle stick there. Make sure we get that in the position we like it. Getting a little bit of distribution there as far as just kind of all the way around the bottom of the magnet there. A little bit along the eyelid there where some of those wrinkles are. And then we can go ahead and hit this again with a UV curing light. And around it goes until it's fully cured up here. Now, sometimes it does take a little bit longer to cure up, so sometimes I'll also sit it in a windowsill for a full day just so that it can kind of get those UV rays through the window, even while I'm at work or something like that. Because sometimes the UV resin just takes a little while to cure up fully. There are other techniques you can use to intensify the overall curing process with the UV light. But that's not today's video, guys. Today's video is more so focusing on the painting as well as the resin work for the little dragon here. My paper actually caught the turntable here, and it actually didn't rotate all the way around. But it is still curing. It is still curing in real time there. Sometimes that happens. As long as it doesn't fall off the turntable and kind of like stick to something it's not supposed to, then we're good. What do you think, guys? Now, as we pull this out here, it is going to give us a little bit of view of what it finally will look like as it is attached to the refrigerator. Of course, we're going to give this one more clear coat here, which is just a little bit of a layer of UV resin, very thin layer, just enough to get a nice layer. And then it is going to be ready to send to the customer. Again, just remember that this is a part of a custom order or package for a customer who had ordered something off the Etsy shop, and it is a D&D campaign. This also went hand in hand with the Frost Dragon Ice and Snow Futhark runes that we had created in a separate content video, and this is also included in that content in a time lapse included with a AI generated imagery of me telling a story about my version of an Ice Dragon campaign, which is pretty cool. As always, thanks for stopping in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial.